All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming this morning. Filling in for Senator Whatley. Senator Whatley's dad, as y'all know, has had some medical issues over the past week or so and seems to be improving. So we are thankful for that. And but here I am today. Here we are today. So, Mary, if you'll call the roll and let's get started.
Senator Albritton. Senator Coleman Madison.
Here.
Senator Figures. Senator Gavan. Here. Senator Marsh. Senator Orr. Senator Sanders Fortier. Senator Singleton.
Here.
Senator Smitherman.
Here.
Senator Stutz.
Here.
Senator Barfoot.
Here.
Senator Whatley.
All right, we have a quorum. And Mary, if you will call first bill on the calendar.
SB 282 by Senator Gudger.
All right. As y'all remember, last week we had a public hearing on this issue. Had some good testimony on both sides. I think the opportunity's been had now to, in the meantime, try to work some of these out. Senator Gudger's not here, so I'll be handling this for him. Ms. Rowe, you want to come up and give us some information, speak to the bill and what it does?
Yes, sir. We have 3 amendments to look at. They are all considered friendly. One of them deals with the Legislative Services Agency, having left out some Amendment 621 language that deals with funds raised in municipalities, and that will have to be included. The second, also considered friendly, is from the League of Municipalities. It holds the limit at 10%, but it does make sure that the funds that are all deposited in gross, that only the net amount that the city keeps of those fines related to tickets is what is counted for that 10%. The third one I told me Senator Smithman is also considered friendly. It is regarding language about Class 1 municipalities.
Thank you, Ms. Rowe. Before we get any questions, let's go ahead and try to adopt the amendment. Senator Smitherman, do you have an amendment? I think members have a copy of that. Ms. Rowe indicated friendly amendment to the sponsor, and so is there a motion to accept the amendment?
Yes, so move.
Senator Smitherman, motion to adopt the amendment. I second that. Any opposition? Well, let's get a good roll. Mary, if you will call a roll on that.
Senator Albritton. Senator Coleman Madison.
Aye.
Senator Figures. Senator Gavan.
No.
Senator Marsh. Senator Orr. Senator Sanders Fortier. Senator Singleton.
Aye.
Senator Smitherman.
Aye.
Senator Stutz.
Aye.
Senator Barfoot.
Aye.
Senator Whatley.
Okay. Smitherman amendment is adopted. I'm going to offer the amendment that is an LSA, I think, tweak or required amendment to it.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Motion and a second, and motion for previous roll. Any objection to that? Senator Van like to be added to that. That using previous roll, Barfoot amendment to that bill passes. I understand there's a third amendment as well. And you should have that in your pocket, in your packet there, and that just defines net versus gross. We have a first and second for adoption of that amendment. Any opposition using previous roll? None seen. That amendment is also adopted. Now we're back on the bill.
Move for passage.
And a move for favorable. And a first and a second. Any opposition using previous roll? Hearing none. Bill is given a favorable report. Thank you so much.
Thank you on behalf of the Lieutenant Governor and Senator Gudger. Thank you so much for your consideration and your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Representative Laverne. All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mary, if you'll actually, I guess, call the bill.
HB 395 by Representative Laverne.
All right. If you will, tell us what the bill does.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. HB 395 creates a new type of alcoholic beverage license that would authorize certain public universities that have a hospitality management program to produce, transfer, and sell alcoholic beverages on the licensed premises of that university. The concept of this is to teach responsible production, responsible service responsible things tied to the alcohol industry with the service industry. Some universities have major hospitality management and hospitality programs, and this will be a concept that will allow that to exist on a campus environment to help that.
Okay, first and second.
I have a question.
Question, Senator Smithman.
I look in the bill, and why did you all decide that the management program may only give license to 3 or less 2-year institutions? I mean, we got a lot of 2-year institutions, and that means that we're going to discriminate against some of them, and some of them, whoever the board likes, going to give one too.
Sure. It's a great question, Senator. We had 2 amendments that were added downstairs. One in the committee, which restricted the total amount of consumption. We didn't want to create a public entity that was competing with our alcohol industry.
I understand. I'm with you on that.
And then the second amendment you're speaking of was added on the floor. Initially, 2-year colleges were not included in this bill, and it was added and limited to 3 so that there wouldn't be a huge outbreak of this, where a major university has a lot of resources, had a lot of oversight, so there's the responsibility measure there, and some of our 2-year schools can have that as well. So we initially opened that up to have it where initially it could be 3. It had to be approved by the president of that 2-year college and by the chancellor of the 2-year system, so there's that oversight. And just like with universities, the university president has to be on that license as well, so there's that accountability factor involved in it.
Yeah, but I have a problem with that number considerably. I don't have any problem with the oversight and the sign off and all of that, but what we're saying is that the board or / the chancellor is going to be able to say, you 3 can have it. Everybody else can't have it. That's not right.
Well,
that's not right. I understand the technicalities and the goodness of it, and I agree with that. But that's not right. Y'all got to change that. You got to change that to either they don't have it at all, or you're opening it up to all of them. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, the opportunity for all of them, not limited to 3. Now, the chancellor can say whether he thinks somebody can handle it. That's the best word I can say. Some schools can, like you just said, and some can't. But to put in statute, this is law. This is it. The chancellor, if the chancellor wanted to give a 4th one, he couldn't, or she, whichever one. That. So I would respectfully ask you all to do that. That this comes out.
Well, I appreciate your comments with that. The main component is there's not many 2-year programs that do have a hospitality program that would qualify them. And then another part of the amendment is they had to have an on-site police force. So you have someone with all the laws that they're governing. So there's not that many that would even qualify.
I agree with you what you said, but to cap it in statute, no, that's not unacceptable. So y'all need to change this. So we need to carry it over and let you talk to somebody, and then we can go on and put an amendment on it in committee, because I don't want to wait on no floor. I can just, because see, if you had a separate amendment, we were voting on it, it would even be better. That was coming, but you all have engrossed this into this bill. So it's either, if bill goes, it goes. That's what I'm saying. So maybe y'all, if somebody's here, I don't know who's here and who y'all talk to, who you need to, but I would like for it to be carried over at the end of the meeting to be fine, but it's just that I need for y'all to do that, because I don't want to be staunchly against your bill on the floor, sure. And basically it's a good bill. I think that's good. I think there's some other things that could be cleaned up in it, such as there need to be some notice about the age to get the alcohol. It ought to be up clear where people walk up, when you walk up to these concession stands and stuff, that if they're going to sell it, there needs to be a sign that says 21 or older. There. I think that also, those kind of notices, and the people going to check the license. I mean, check ID, just like they do at any other place. So I think that ought to be in the bill as well. You see what I'm saying? That it's mandatory that they do those things.
Well,
and, so I think that it needs a little bit more work based on those two issues right there alone.
Senator Smithman, would you be willing to, if we go ahead and get this bill out of committee today, if that's the mood of the body, to Representative Lovern, would you be willing to work with Senator Smithman? Sounds like some valid concerns or questions kind of getting late in the session. And
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, I also would like the committee to be committed as I am that this bill is not going to move, not going to be on the calendar unless we get those things together, you know, at least in some shape, form, or fashion.
understand.
You know, I'm not saying I got to have my way or nothing like that, or 100% anything like that, but I'm just saying we need to address those issues, you know, in some other way other than limited to if we got, about 8 junior colleges, 10, 9, 12. We got, this man wouldn't know because he has to fund them. We got 22 colleges and we talking about can't but 3 get it? No, that don't, no. I got 2 up on my end. That's 2 of the 3 gone right there. Jeff State should be able to get it, no doubt about it. Lawson State should be able to get it. I mean, you know, these are Blue Ribbon 2-year university. I mean, so that's, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's 2 gone right there. You know, so that, no, y'all got to handle that a little bit better.
Senator Orr.
I agree with the good gentleman from Jefferson, but would like to, in the interest of time, move favorable and move it on. But I agree with him. I think make it system-wide.
With the commitment that we work it out before it gets to the floor.
First and second with those caveats, any opposition to using previous role? Senator Figures wants to be added. You're still on? Senator Albritton, you want to be added to that role as a yes? So, with reservations? We'll put that in the 3rd column over there, huh? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Thank you. Bill gives a favorable report. Thank you
you
for being here, Representative Lovern. All right. Mary, if you'll call the next bill, Senator Figures' bill.
Mr. Chairman, I just moved to carry that over. They opted to come off of the calendar for the day.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Figures.
SB 231 by Senator Gavan.
So this is a bill that is at the request of my district judges. I've said before, and I'm sure I'll say it many times again, I don't do criminal. So this is not my world, and I'm just basically carrying a bill that, and this has to do with the statute of limitations for misdemeanors being told during the time that the defendant is participating in a court-approved drug rehab program or diversion program. So Senator Barfoot and I have had some discussions about that and whether it's necessary or not. Apparently, it's handled different ways in different parts of the state. So, and my understanding is the District Judges Association is, I guess, neutral on it because it seems to be a localized issue across the state. Apparently, it's not an issue in Montgomery County, but for some reason, it is in Madison.
Senator Van is correct. We've had discussions about that, and I don't see that it's an issue, or in places that it is an issue. I think there's a misinterpretation of the law by those judges. I didn't say that, by the way. But I'm certainly willing to work with you to try to come up with a solution. If we can move this bill out, I would move for motion for favorable report. And a first and a second. Any opposition or questions or comments?
Just a quick comment. Will you explain later on? Explain to me about this bill. You know, I mean, I don't see nothing bad in it, but I'm trying to, you know what I mean? Just like what you said, wrap myself around it. I'm trying to see it, visualize it. But if you know, we'll be on the floor. You know, things we'll be able to talk. Okay.
All right, we got a first and second. Any opposition using previous role? Hearing none. SB 231 is given favorable report. Thank you, Senator Gavan. Mayor, if you'll call the next bill.
SB 301 by Senator Barfoot.
All right. In all candidness, SB 301 is a bill that is not perfect as you see it now. It is pretty broad, sweeping implications. We began working on a sub to that a couple days ago. Got that sub yesterday. That sub was not ready, I think, and had some flaws as well. The intent of SB 301 is to make sure that the prohibited persons carrying a firearm throughout the state, that it has some teeth to it. The end result that I would like to see as it relates to violent A or B offenders, that there is some real teeth to it. Currently, under Alabama law, it's a Class C felony if you're a prohibited person caught with firearm thereafter. A lot of times those Class C offenses are receiving no jail time, and quite honestly, it's not much of a deterrent. At the same time, I think it's a balancing act. We got to make sure that those individuals throughout the state that may be prohibited from some other past crime, but it wasn't a violent A or B type crime, that we are not too heavy-handed on those folks. So there's a balancing act there. What I'd ask the committee to do, and I've got Mr. Mattson here, ask him to come and address the committee, but ultimately what I'd ask the committee to do is to let's move this bill out. I am the sponsor. I will promise you, in this version, it will not see the floor until we've had an opportunity to work on it. We want to accomplish a goal without being too heavy-handed. Mr. Mattson, if you could come and address the general premise behind SB 301.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity. The goal here is to be narrow and focused in those A and B felons that commit violent crimes with the use of a deadly weapon. As you know, spike in violent crime, especially using firearms, is a problem. And we've had periods in our state. I harken back to we had a period where the feds had a program where they were enhancing with firearms sentences, and we actually would see violent defendants, when they fled or the police came, just throw their guns out the window. They threw them out the window because they didn't want to be arrested with a firearm, because they knew there was some mandatory time. And so what we want to do is look at people committing a Class A felony, Class B felony, a violent offense with a deadly weapon, and people that have those rape, robberies, and murders in their past, and then possessing a firearm. Because like Senator Barfoot said, currently it's a Class C, and the feds really don't take those cases anymore. And in Alabama, we don't have a mechanism to deter somebody who's got a prior rape, robbery, or murder from carrying a firearm, whether it's unlawful or not. So we're hoping to get some teeth on those serious offenses, not forgeries and thefts, that kind of thing, but serious Class A felonies and people possessing deadly weapons.
Senator Coleman Madison.
I just have a question. I'm just sitting here thinking, we just passed the Wild Wild West bill. How does this fit into that?
Well, we actually had a lot of members request that we address this issue, because in that, I think there were folks that, for whatever the reasons were for that bill, wanted to make sure that people that had convictions were deterred from possessing firearms. And so that this is a kind of seen as a balancing to that's our hope, is to address that specific population of people with Class A felonies, or who are committing Class A felonies, from possessing or wanting to possess a firearm, because the danger is higher.
Why wouldn't they want to possess a firearm? I mean, they don't have to get a permit. You can go to a gun show and buy it, or you can buy it from somebody else. You don't have to have a permit. This comes back to the same thing that we were talking about. You don't have a way of tracking.
Yeah.
Wild Wild West.
It's frightening. It really is.
Senator Spindler.
I know what you're trying to do, and I applaud you for what you're trying to do. I want to say that seriously. I applaud you, very serious for that. I have a couple concerns, though. One being is that not the enhancements. I want you to understand that. I know you're trying to deter things, but the total ability of discretion by the judge. I mean, we cut out the judiciary branch in the bill. That's what we're doing in essence. I mean, the judge has got to follow the script. It has no adjustments for whatever the situation is, whatever the fact situation may be. I mean, and you know exactly what I'm saying. I give you an analysis. I'm gonna give you a quick analysis. Here, there's two guys going right down the. Well, there's two. They're out behind the school playing basketball. outside goals. One guy gonna catch a ride home with these other two guys. These other two guys decide to pull in somewhere, and then they're gonna rob somebody. And this person could even just be in the car, just sitting there not even knowing. They come back out and take off. You and I know what the deal gonna be for the one in the back seat. He gonna be charged the same identical thing. If they use a weapon, he gonna face the same stiff sentence that they gonna face, and he was just sitting in the car. You know, of course, I mean, you see where I'm coming from now? This bill has to have some level of discretion by the judge for those kind of situations. You know, and the key is whether he knew. You know, if he knew and didn't participate, he still got some guilt. If he didn't know, then of course you know what kicks in constructive. Constructive. Now, see, so I'm saying that that's one thing that is definitely needs to be worked on. The other thing is this: is that there need to be, along with that discretion, some mechanism or some like when the federals, you know, they have their sheet, they work on sentencing, you know, whether or not you fall in that range, they work on that. It needs to be something like that, because we also finna do something that's changing, just life changing or earth changing in our legal process, and that is make mandatory sentencing. This is the first step in that, and what that can create, of course, you know, these beautiful new jails we building, they'll be filled in a matter just like this, because folk won't be coming out for any reason. You know, so
Senator Smithman, I'll commit to you to come and work and look, and it may be that we can treat, you know, already under Class A felonies, it's 85% or 15 years. Maybe we can put in a look at the possibility of an 85% rule, so we haven't deviated from what we already have kind of on the books. I think there's some ways around that. We certainly don't want to be too heavy-handed.
You need to be where you need to be. Don't get me wrong. You know, I think what you're trying to do is good. I mean that to my heart.
Thank you.
You know, so let's
sit down, lawyer, and we'll figure out how we can accomplish the goal without being too heavy-handed.
Okay.
And we're having those same conversations on the House side as well, with the leadership and with Senator Barfoot here on that specific issue. So I think we can get something that you would be, well, because I'm agreeing that, you know, judicial discretion is important in our state. So.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
That being said, I'll move for final passage or give the bill a favorable report to have a second.
Second.
And second, Senator Orr, Senator Smitherman. Any opposition using previous rule? We have abstention by Senator Van, abstention by Senator Coleman Madison. Okay. Abstention by. Okay. Well, we've got an abstention, and no. And I think it's probably easier if we do call the roll.
Senator Albritton? Senator Coleman Madison? Senator Figures? Senator Gavan? Senator Marsh? Senator Orr? Senator Sanders Fortier? Senator Singleton? Senator Smitherman?
Aye.
Senator Stutz? Senator Barfoot?
Aye.
Senator Gavan?
No, it won't hit the floor until it's.
But is that with the commitment to work on it?
It is, yeah. I'm going to send them. Yeah, thank you. All right. Bill receives a final favorable report, 5-0 to 3. Is that right? Mm-hmm. All right. One more down. Looks like this is the Barfoot show today. I'm handling the next one, I think, for Senator Watley. Mary, if you'll call that one.
SB 227.